we're really grateful to Hogan for letting us have access to you. And one of the things they wanted to make sure that we knew is that you carry a lot of different types of loads. Can you give us a sense for all the different loads that you carry? And if what percentage of cargo, logistics cargo in the U.S. is shipped by trucks? Any thoughts on sort of those two questions?
The freight that I know that I've hauled personally is dry van freight, which is your everyday things from groceries to, bulk chemicals. You just never know. It just depends on if it needs to be on a dry trailer, which a dry van is just a regular box van. Then I've hauled for some of our dedicated accounts that we haul refrigerated units, which is your produce and stuff like that, your ice creams, your meats. I've done livestock where we haul live animals, but I've done like flatbeds, like hauled containers that hold your household stuff, like when you move from pods. I've hauled those before. So people's furniture and all that. The only thing I've not really gotten into is tankers. I've done cars. We have a car division. So, that's a lot of fun to me. The livestock's a lot of fun.
And I would imagine that there are certain subtle differences between those types of loads in how you manage the truck. Obviously, you got to be careful with the livestock not to throw them around too much, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very cool.
So I don't think people realize how much gets shipped around the country via trucks. Do you have any idea of the...
I'm thinking, if I remember right, it's right around like 71 to 75%.
Yeah, I thought so.
But roughly I would say 99.9% of the freight is hauled. Because even if it's shipped on rail, on a train, it still has to be loaded into a truck and taken to a warehouse.
The last tactical mile. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are a critical part of the logistical infrastructure of the country. I don't think people realize it when they see you on the roads out there. So I wanted to make sure we got that point across. So, hey, as Sandy mentioned, I've been driving in a camper van. I'm in New Zealand at the moment, and I really enjoyed it because it was cozy. So I suspect I would really like your accommodations in your Class 8 trucks. Do you guys have toilets and induction stoves and running water? How fancy do those living quarters get? Or is it really just a bunk bed?
It all depends on, the company you work for. Smaller mom and pop trucking companies. Some of them have those super sleepers, which have a shower in it, washer and dryer,
wow.
Stove, cooktops,
really?
King size bed in it. And then there you got, most carriers have double bunks, which is 2 twin beds in it, and a mini fridge, not classified as a dorm fridge, but a little bit smaller, and then microwaves is what we have in them.
So you have two beds. Does that mean one person can't? Can you be asleep while somebody else is driving? Is that allowed?
Yes,
or do you have?
That is called team driving.
Okay.
So one person will drive a 12-hour shift, like, from, we'll just say midnight to noon. And then at noon, the guy that was asleep will get in, do his pre-trip on the truck, and then start driving from noon to midnight. Wow. That keeps the truck moving 24 hours a day.
That's intense.
How many hours can you drive generally? I know it depends on terrain and the load and all that kind of stuff, but how many hours can you drive on one load of gas?
On one load of gas, it all depends on what your truck, I fill up every other day and I might put 80 to 100 gallons in. But, some trucks get 5 miles to a gallon, like the older trucks. The newer trucks,
wow.
you can get 8 to 10 miles to a gallon. It just depends on how heavy or how light you are.
We had rules when we were on the space station. We had rules about how many hours we were allowed to work and how many hours we had to rest. Do you guys have rules like that?
Yes. We have what they call an 11-14 rule, and that's federal. So in a 14-hour day, you're allowed to drive 11 hours. So anywhere in between that time, you can say you start at 7 o'clock in the morning, you have to be shut down by 9 o'clock at night. And any time in the between there, you're allowed to drive.
And then how long do you have to rest before you can drive again?
10 hours.
10 hours. Okay.
Yep. You have to be down for 10 hours.
How about other rules that our listeners might not be aware of that are oriented towards safety and that sort of thing? Any particular things you got to adhere to?
I mean, mainly it's the 11-hour, 14-hour DOT rules. If you start a minute early from your 10-hour break, you're in violation. And then, the other rules are that if there's a light out on the truck, you can actually get pulled over and get a ticket just for a marker light being out. You see cars driving around missing headlights and all that. We're not allowed to do that. And, the tickets vary for, a seatbelt ticket in a car is maybe $10, $15. In a semi truck, it's $300.
So you guys have a whole nother standard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I guess the implications of something going wrong with a big truck are a little more serious maybe than with a car, but pretty amazing.
You guys are on a schedule. And I was curious about how much control do you have over managing that schedule? Like what kind of margin do they put in there for traffic and weather? Because you have to kind of work around impromptu gifts from the universe as you're driving across the country. So how much room do you have to manage that?
It all depends on how hard you want to run yourself. The company that, Hogan actually does their loads at 55 miles an hour. So looking at your mileage, and that's what most companies will do is run 50 to 55 miles an hour. That gives you extra play time to, if say you run 60 miles an hour, you want to run a safe speed. So at 60 miles an hour, if you're averaging that, you'll have, a couple hours to play with. So, it just depends on how hard you want to run and push yourself.
Okay.
That's how they load it. And, off of their time is what you get for yourself. So your 10-hour breaks and all that.
So but the 55 is sort of an average, because if you're going around a loop, say around Atlanta, you're going to be doing 20 for an hour.
Yeah.
Something horrible.
Yeah. Traffic does eat into it a lot. But the good thing is if we're having issues, if there's a major accident or something, all we have to do is call in the dispatch and say, hey, this is what's going on. Send them a message on the ELD system and they will relay it to the customer. So, you try to adhere to the timeline, but sometimes you can't.
Kind of walk us through, if you would, a typical run. I'm curious, obviously you started by hooking up to a trailer, unless it's already done for you. Do you usually do the same route over and over again? Or is every single day is different? You've got a dispatch that says, okay, we need you to take this trailer from point A to point B and then go pick up another trailer and take it to point C. How does that rhythm work for you?
It all depends on if you're on a dedicated account or if you're what we call an OTR driver, which is over the road. So if you're on a dedicated account, you might get the same run and do it every day, day in, day out. Or, on some dedicated accounts, you'll pick up from that same location and you'll go to different locations all over the country. It just all depends. Over the road, you pick up at point A, you're going to take it to point B. Then you're going to go to point C, pick up again, or deliver more freight, and then go to D or E. It just all depends.
If you're an over-the-road driver and you're going from A to B to C to D, that could be weeks at a time. So how do you get downtime or time off to see your family? Or how's that built into that kind of a schedule?
The way I do it is I roughly go 3 weeks out and then go home for a few days and then go start all over again. That's how I like to do it. Some drivers, they'll stay out for months on end and then go home for a month. It just, if the wheels aren't turning, you're not making money.